What's up, everyone? Welcome back. Today we're going to try to play Rowan, Scion of War in a Historic Brawl. Rowan is a Rakdos commander. It is one generic Rakdos 4/2 human wizard with Menace. The main clause we care about here is tap spells you cast this turn that are black and red, cost X less to cast, where X is the amount of life you lost this turn. Activate only as a sorcery. So Rowan allows us to play spells in our deck much cheaper based on the amount of life we lost. So naturally, we have a bunch of ways to lose life. Black already kind of does this with, spells like Infernal Grasp, right? You lose 2 life. We got Sign in Blood, draw 2 cards, lose 2 life. There's a bunch of effects like that in here. And we also have lands that help us lose life. Like Mount Doom, pay 1 life. The Ramunap, how do you say that? Ramunap Ruins? Same concept, pay 1 life, add red. So we have a bunch of ways to create life loss. Then we have a bunch of ways to basically, get in the opponent's hand, remove their things, typical Rakdos stuff, basically kill all their things and get to a point where we can cast Rowan. I played this deck a lot, and I really want this deck to work in Historic Brawl, but I had a hard time getting this deck to be successful. And the reason is because it's a hard plan to push, where you're dealing damage to yourself and winning, right? I mean, the opponent is trying to do damage to you too, so you're basically helping the opponent. So what would happen is that I would be like a turn or 2 away from popping off, and then I would just die. So I've kind of revisited the deck a little bit, and originally I had no sources of life gain in here because it kind of goes against the idea of the deck, but I've added some back in. Grizzlebrand is a giant life-linking creature. What else we got? We got Aetherflux Reservoir, so that if we do pop off with Rowan and we have Aetherflux, we can gain a bunch of life back. Pristine Talisman, just as a, it helps us as a mana rock, but also gains us life. So we have a bunch of little, incidental life gain in the deck, and I think that's going to help us just survive long enough to get to the point where we can pop off with this deck. Because once it pops off pretty hard. The other issue is that people really love to remove Rowan. So you play Rowan, it dies. You play Rowan, it dies. And since you can only activate this as a sorcery, it's pretty difficult to get Rowan to stick. So we have some haste enablers like Crashing Drawbridge and Swiftfoot Boots and things like that, just so that if we play Rowan, we have the potential to activate it the same turn. And then we have a bunch of, what do we call these? Scam effects, if you guys are familiar with Modern and Rakdos Scam. Basically, these effects, if someone tries to remove our commander, we can play these in response, and when the creature dies, it comes right back to the battlefield. So we can sort of scam them out of their own removal spells, and we have a handful of these in the deck. So hopefully the blend of all these things allows us to get to a point where we can have Rowan on the battlefield on our turn, lose 5, 6, 7 life, play spells like Grizzlebrand and Professor Onyx and Liliana for super cheap and just take over the game. Let's see if we can make it happen. I really want this deck to work because if you're a fan of the channel, you know that I love Rakdos. It's my favorite guild. And I think Rowan is a really great commander in Paper Commander. Because if you have 3 other opponents, typically your commander sticks around for at least 1 turn before people, sort of realize how powerful it is. In 1v1 Historic Brawl, it's a lot harder to keep Rowan on the battlefield. Gitrog monster. Okay, so we have access to both our colors. We have a way to get rid of the Gitrog monster, assuming they don't play other creatures. But otherwise, this hand is pretty bad. This is 5 mana, right? So we can't even revolt it. I'm going to mulligan this hand. Okay. Better. It's pretty medium, but it's better than the last hand we had. So let's keep. Play this on turn 1. The other thing that you have to, you know, I kind of alluded to it, but the other thing you really have to be aware of when you play this deck is how much damage you're taking. Because it's really easy to forget how much damage you're taking, and then the opponent just swings in for lethal, or they have a burn spell, and you never really get to the point where you can do your cool thing with the deck. This is another spell I added in. So I originally didn't have Erebos' intervention, but this is a great versatile card that can help us get rid of, you know, maybe an indestructible creature, or exile someone's graveyard, which is definitely, you know, good against like Muldrotha and stuff like that. But it also gains us life if we need it. So that was a good include. If we could stop drawing our finishers early game, that'd be nice. Let's just attack in. There's nothing else to do. In turn. So at least we have the scam effect in our hand. We can get to 4 mana and then play Rowan and feel comfortable about it. And we do have a way to start losing life, so we can make these spells cheaper. If we get another way to lose life, we could maybe cheat out Liliana by turn 4 or 5. Resolve. Pass. Land. Nice. Nice. Let's play you. We still don't have anything to do, so let's attack it. End turn. Next turn we'll have the 4 lands so that we play Rowan and protect it. Opponent is doing nothing. Okay. Man, I really want to play that. So what, we do this, and we have 3 mana left. 3 mana left. I think we do it. The opponent, we're under no pressure from the opponent right now. So let's not be silly about this. Let's just do the correct thing. We already have 2 red sources, so I think we can play this on black. Are they gonna kill my goblin? Opponent. End turn. Okay, I thought they might be holding up mana for some type of ramp effect, but I was trying to think of ones that are instant speed. I forgot about Roiling Regrowth. It's a really undervalued card. I put it in pretty much every green deck that I want to ramp in. Pass. So next turn we'll have the ability to not only play Rowan and protect it, but give it haste. So that's pretty neat. So depending on what we draw, we might be able to do some fun next time.
Trees are old and old.
A tree folk.
Trees can fight their own battles.
Yes. My turn. Treacherous Blessing. I mean, it's another way for us to lose life. So, do we have enough to do both? We don't. We only have enough to do one. So why don't we... If we Treacherous Blessing, we could draw more lands and stuff too, which would be good. And then we can Rowan the turn after. Yeah. Set up. No land. Oh, actually we do draw land. Okay. Do we need to play this untapped for any reason? 1, 2, 3. We could play Obnixilis. Give him something to try to attack into. You know. get rid of our goblin.
I'm the new
Is it a
boss
devil by chance?
around
No,
here.
it's not.
Join me
Let's.
or die.
I think the devil's more relevant right now.
Ha! Shake down the locals.
It would just be making them lose 2 life, which is really not super relevant at this point. If Obnixilis survives, for whatever reason, I don't think it will, but if it survives, then we can start gaining life too.
Rich
Okay, they're gonna
soil
plus here.
grows mighty forests.
Now you now have a 6/6. We also have enough to just straight up Liliana next turn, so we could make them sack. And we could keep our Obnixilis. That's pretty good. I think that might be the way we go. We can't burn down the house. It won't do anything. It'll just kill all our stuff. It will eventually kill their Wren, though. But it'll also kill our stuff, so we don't really want to do that. Their only play is to attack me or Ob, and I have a blocker for it. Yeah?
Leave
Off
our
of making more tree folk.
presence.
My turn. Lightning strike. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's do this before they have any information on what we're gonna do.
By coin or carnage, tribute is owed.
Whenever one or more lands are put in your graveyard, draw a card. Okay.
I do hope you make
We
this
could
battle
plus Liliana here to
exciting
make
for
a
me.
blocker, but I really think just getting the Gitrog monster off the battlefield is where we want to be. It's too much value. It's too bad we lose the haste, but
Battle to the grave.
we're in a good spot. They can't make another tree folk next turn. They can only plus. And we get to draw a card. So far we haven't used Rowan at all, but maybe we can get to the point where Rowan is a late game finisher with Torment of Hellfire. They're gonna have a lot of, well, they potentially could have a lot of permanents to sack, but it is non-land permanents, and their deck is pretty much, their permanents they care about are lands, so that is good for us.
I'll find a use for you later.
Perfect. Got a land. Still got a whole grip full of cards, so we got to see what they do here. Eldest Reborn. Got it. Resolve. Let's get rid of this. 'Cause they get to get one out of our graveyard, right? And that's the one I care about the least. I definitely don't want them having Liliana. Liliana is too valuable.
We blossom
Put any
and
number of
thrive.
land cards. Let's see how many lands are in their hand. They must have a bunch to activate 0. Huh? Why did they put no lands into play? That was just their land drop return, but they put 0 lands into play. They must have misclicked. Oops. That must mean, though, that either their hand has no lands in it besides this one, or they have all lands and they misclicked. Because they're not playing anything. Which is good for us. Kendra's Transformation. That does suck. Okay, so they're bringing that back for Rowan because they're worried about me bringing Rowan back. So now this doesn't work because that doesn't kill it. Okay. Well, we're gonna plus Liliana no matter what. Next turn, I have to discard a card.
Rise!
We could just Torment of Hailfire here for how much? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. For 5, so we make them do it 5 times. So they could just choose to lose 15 life. It's not that great. We could hold this all up. If this becomes a 3/3, does it matter? Probably. We could just lightning strike their red. Get that out of here.
The heat has become unbearable.
And I think we pass. Oh no, we could make devils too. Yeah, I think this is more relevant as devils. I thought that there's the backside to my mouse. Discard a card. Well, I gotta say this is no longer relevant, so let's get it out of here. Four, 7, 8, 9, 10 if they get a creature on the battlefield. But basically 9. Okay, they make a bunch of land creatures. Seems good. I thought these made flyers, but I guess they don't. Okay. Definitely turns off Torment. Well, let's just keep making creatures. Here's the funny thing. I could attack with the devils and they could block. And then I could kill the other half of their lands. They have a bunch of mana, so what are they going to do? They're going to eternal... I mean, they're going to get more cards back from the graveyard. We can keep Erebos' intervention up. I think that's what we do here. I think we just pass. We can get a creature or a planeswalker. I gotta think they're gonna get Ren, right? So we could exile it. We're gonna take away Ren. And let's take away this as well. Elvis Reborn does nothing. You still have a bunch of mana though. It'd be really funny if they Kendra's Transformation one of my devils. I don't think they want to attack with these. I think they want these to be lands. Let's resolve. You're telling me you have a bunch of mana and nothing to do with it, huh? Oh, that ain't it. That ain't it. Okay. So what do we do here? We have 5 blockers, so it's only going to take 2 damage. And then we're going to draw a ton of cards. Okay. Pass. Yeah. 5 blockers. Did you not think I was going to block with everything? We could gain life here too. I don't really care if Liliana takes 2 here.
How uncivilized.
Kill your other 2. Yeah. I played a guy in Commander once who had a Devil Tribal Commander deck. It was so hard to play against.
They were a lousy servant.
It was like you couldn't do anything without
Waste
taking
not,
damage.
want
And then, like
not.
he would make like tons of devils every turn, and it was like you couldn't wipe the board because then they would all just ping you to death. It was really, really, it was a great deck. It was just really frustrating to play against, but really, really cool deck. This is a 5, so this is not online. Let's just Infernal Grasp. My turn. Plus Liliana.
Putrid, but effective.
We have a lot of cards in our graveyard, so we could get the Croxa train rolling. Yeah, we could Croxa this turn. And they have... They'll Kendra's Transformation it. But wouldn't we rather that go to Croxa than... Rowan? Or do we just draw a bunch of cards with all our attacking creatures? We gotta be careful with our life totals. I think we're still okay. Yeah. Okay. So we can play this and protect it, right? Or how much is it equip? Oh, we're 1 mana off. We're 1 mana off from doing that. So let's just play the boots this turn. Going down on the field. And Croxa. They left their commander in the graveyard.
Death is enlightening.
We gotta be really careful with this Treacherous Blessing. Binding. Probably gonna Binding Liliana, right? I mean... Okay. I don't think we have a way around it. Okay.
I will rise again.
We might just have to play Murderous Rider. They're gonna return their commander, I'm assuming, right? Yeah. Okay. This has no mana value, right? Yeah. Okay. We don't care about either of these 2 other modes, so we're not going to blow up that enchantment. We gotta gain some life, though. So I think we gotta do Murderous Rider and give it haste. So that we can start gaining some life back. Or we could Okay, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we could do this for 6, which means they'd have to sack 2 things and then lose 4 times 3 is 12. Yeah, I think we got them here. I think we got them. We're going to decline all of these because we don't have any life to spare. And let's just do this for 6, right? I think we got it. I mean, they can discard cards out of their hand. You can discard 2 cards. But then you still got to lose 6 life. Yep, we got it. Perfect lethal. Woo! Found the line. Hello? Arena? What? What? They can use their timeouts while they're dead? Oh, you know what? I bet you anything the trigger to have Gitrog Monster returned back to the command zone, or the little prompt, is up, and that's why they can rope me out on 0 life. I've never seen that happen in Arena, but they're roping me out on 0 life. Alright. They didn't rope me out. They didn't rope me out all the way, but I have never seen that before. Barely got through that one. But you can see what I was saying about, you know, this since you do a bunch of damage to yourself with this deck, you end up at a really low life total really fast. So you have to be super careful on the decisions you make. And again, that's why I added some like incidental life gain back in the deck, just so that we can skate by. Nahiri. I forget what this does. Is it like an equipment commander? Is it Boros equipment? You may discard a card if you do draw a card. Exile target enchantment, tapped artifact, or tapped creature. Search your library for an artifact, creature, card, put it on the battlefield, then shuffle. It gains haste, return it to your hand at the beginning of the next end step. I don't know what this does. This could be like Boros control, which would be pretty interesting. It could be Reanimator, because you're discarding a card. And white does have some reanimation effects. I don't know, but I think Thoughtseize is a good card to have. We'll keep, because I have no idea what this deck even does. Opponent gets to go first. Tap land. Do we do this and then Thoughtseize? We could Thoughtseize next turn. I think it's important to have Mind Stone on curve. Does it matter? Probably does. We could Thoughtseize and get into their hand to figure out what they're doing, but I think us being on curve is more important, as boring as that is. We do need red mana. So let's go get red mana. Okay, good draw. Now I feel like we can do this, because they didn't play anything. So they're gonna get one thing played, but I feel like we're still in a good spot. And now, because we drew this, we can wait on the Fabled Passage. So that ended up smoothing itself out. Celestis. It's got to be a Reanimator deck, right? They want to discard a bunch of stuff. What are we doing this turn? Thoughtseizing and Grim Tutoring, maybe? Let's Thoughtseize first and just see what they're up to. Okay. Lightning Helix. Exile target card from the graveyard. Tally. That's a ways away. Chandra. Discard your hand and exile the top 3 cards of your library. Yeah, it's got to be a Reanimator, right? Well, let's get this in. Let's play the tap land. Let's keep the Infernal Grasp. And we'll pass. They'll have their Planeswalker next turn. So I guess they can exile my Mind Stone if they want. They can start exiling cards from my graveyard. So, we need Planeswalker removal. This feels like a opportune time to go get that. I mean, how much do we really care about this? We should probably care. Do I have the Immortal Sun in this deck? That is the question. Don't have the Immortal Sun. I do have Invoke Despair though, and we have the mana for it. So let's Invoke Despair. And we'll keep up Infernal Grasp in case they do a tally. Did they put it? No, there it is. This is our original tally. They're gonna exile my Grim Tutor. You got it. We're not too worried about our graveyard. The only card that I can think of that would matter, they're just ramping like crazy, is Kroxa. But we don't have Kroxa right now, so it's no big deal. So they're just ramping like crazy. Lightning Helix does 3 damage, so yes, that would affect. That would kill my commander. They only have artifacts, right? So, I mean, we could just draw 3 cards, but I feel like that's not why we. That's not why we came here. This does absolutely nothing right now. These are all dead cards. This will eventually be relevant once they play a couple of these things. We could play Rowan just to get the Lightning Helix out of their hand. Is that where we're at? We could draw a card with Mind Stone. We have 6 lands, so yeah, I mean, actually, let's use the colorless here. Let's draw a card. I mean, it's something, right? Sure. We gotta be careful because they can do this at instant speed. They have to have 2 mana to activate it, though. Okay, opponent. I'm still confused on what you're doing. Okay. Tally. Doesn't have haste, though. Did they have a haste enabler? Pass. No. Okay. We need more black sources. This is a weird game. I don't really know how to play against this. I'm just trying to prepare for everything. I think it's a Reanimator deck, or maybe it's just big Boros. Maybe this is just for card draw, because Boros does have a hard time drawing cards. Defiler of Flesh gets around Lightning Helix. So, sure. Now we can pay Phyrexian for black. So that's good. they remove it, that's fine.
I need some kindling.
Okay.
You look flammable enough. Utterly is the
That's a
best way to
target
destroy things.
for Invoke Despair. Good enough for me. We definitely don't want to be taking those emblems. It actually kind of works with our commander, but we still don't really want to be taking them. Grizzlebrand's a good draw. Okay, they're just gonna keep ramping. Ramping into what? Is this like Boros Planeswalkers?
Vengeance will reign like meaty. Witness justice.
Another ramp piece. Boros ramp. That's funny. Black Source. We could just straight up play Grizzlebrand here, and if they try to remove it, I mean, what do they do here against a 7/7? That's our best play, right? And we have the life to activate the draw 7 if we need to. Okay, opponent, it's up to you. Actually, I'm gonna, just in case they have a removal spell, I want to be able to activate this in response. 3 to my face. You got it. Okay.
Justice won't be tempered.
Discard a land. Would you like to exile a card from my graveyard? Portal to Phyrexia. What a draw. Okay, but we can still activate... We can still activate this. And we can return it to our hand. Activate ability. So they're a Portal to Phyrexia deck. That's what this deck is. Resolve. We also have the Reliquary Tower, so that's great. Resolve. Blood. Well, we are a Rakdos deck, so that's not super important. We have a way to gain life. Okay, so we don't want them to get Grizzlebrand, obviously. That's the only creature in our deck. They have... What does this say? Return what? You need to return target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. It's a Phyrexian. Okay, but it doesn't gain haste. So the only other creature they could get is a Tally. So we don't really care about that. What does this say? Hold on, sorry. Takanuma. Channel. For 4 mana. Mill 3 cards and return a creature or planeswalker card from your graveyard to your hand. Okay. So we do run the risk of milling more creatures, although this deck doesn't have a ton of creatures. So let's Pristine Talisman. We need to start gaining some life back. Do we have a way to exile our own graveyard? I don't think so. I don't think so. Okay. So let's do this. We could have done that in response, but it's okay. Though I think the -8 is for this though, so we'll need this to get rid of this creature. So let's just pass. Oh, they turn Reliquary Tower into a mountain. Bummer. Well, this is not useful right now. This is not useful right now. This is not useful right now. And neither is this.
What's one more grudge to
So what else did they get?
The bedrock quakes with my rage!
Emrakul. But it wasn't cast. Okay, so it gains haste? Is that what it says? It gains haste. Okay. What a weird deck. What a weird deck. That Blood Moon, though, that was the play. Because... yeah, man. I thought about doing the One Ring. That probably would have been the better call. It was I just didn't want them to get my Grizzlebrand and then draw a bunch of cards because they had so much life. But I just didn't know what they were going to grab with this. I was assuming that Portal to Phyrexia was the reason that they were going to -8 and they already had it on the battlefield. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to play against a deck that you have no idea what it's doing, right? So, good game to them. Good game to them. Definitely not a typical Boros deck, which I respect, because Boros is one of my least favorite guilds, honestly. But I do like when people play like Boros Control or Big Boros and things like that, instead of just like the typical equipment deck. What a weird deck. But yeah, I guess if I see that commander again, I'll be better prepared for it. Okay, Drum Goalie. Let's remind myself what this does. Each other non-human creature you control enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it. So it's a creature deck. Okay. Not great. We go first, but we have to draw land, and this hand is good if we draw a land. It's awful if we don't draw a land. But we have the black market, which gives us color fixings. I'm gonna really... this is the content keep. Let's do this. And the mana curve of it is so low. Okay. Strike one. Lotus Cobra. Pass. Land. No land. If I don't draw land in the next turn, I'm probably just gonna scoop. Because we'll be way too far out of this game, especially with a Lotus Cobra on the field. We do have a Blood on the Snow, so if we get the engine going, we'll be able to draw cards and get our way out of this. But yep, I have no plays. So let's just play your stuff. Yeah. You can attack with your Lotus Cobra. Do you dare into my 2 mana? Do you have the cojones? Okay, just make a decision. just pick one. Opponent, hello. I definitely don't want to start sending BM emotes because I am in no position to BM. Did our opponent disconnect? Hello? Okay. Well, not too bad so far, but they have 4 mana. What does this do again? Okay, so it doubles +1/+1 counters. So they'll probably put them on here, make a bunch more mana if they decide on what to do. Oh my god. No land. We'll give it one more turn. We'll give it one more turn. At least we have the Reliquary Tower, so we're not discarding a bunch. I wonder if they disconnected, because this doesn't make any sense. They should have attacked with the Lotus Cobra. I was kidding around, but they should have attacked with it. You know, if I was gonna remove it, they might as well get the damage in anyway, right? They have enough to do a bunch of stuff this turn, so they must have disconnected, which is too bad, because they really could have punished me in these last couple turns. I feel the pain, man. Arena just decides to kick me off at the most random times, too. Yeah. Oh, land. Thank goodness. A mountain, or it comes into play tapped. Right. Well, at least our opponent's disconnected, because we would be so far out of the game if they were here. God, that hand was so good too. If we just drew this, if we drew this on turn 1 or turn 2, this hand would have been great. It was so low mana curve. Like the highest mana curve spell was, or mana value spell was 4. It was like the perfect curve if we just drew one land, or another black source. You know, if this had 2 black sources. Oh man, sorry opponent. That sucks. Well, that game doesn't count. We'll do one more. So, if you like the video, you've been watching, appreciate you watching, first of all. Secondly, if you like the content, please subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. I'm trying to grow the channel. Trying to put out a bunch of historic Brawl content, eventually Commander content, and eventually a little bit of everything. I like all of Magic the Gathering. Perforos is a strong commander. Other creature will have haste. You may put a red creature card or an artifact creature card from your hand on the battlefield. So this is like Sneak Attack, if you guys know that card, but it's on a commander. Okay, this is a good hand. We go first. Let's play the mountain so we can play Castle Locthwain untapped. We don't want to do this too soon because it draws our opponent's cards. But we'll play it later. We also don't want to do this too soon because then we'll start taking a bunch of damage. I don't know how much removal this deck is going to have because it seems to center around cheating out creatures. Probably, you know, really big ones. So, but we may want to do it just because we don't have a, we don't have any removal. Let's ramp and get a blocker. It's usually never wrong to play out Solemn. We have double black and a red source, but this deck is mostly black cards. It's basically like a mono black deck splashing the red. So let's get another black source. So they could discard a bunch of cards and make... Okay. Rowan might be safe, honestly. We don't have a way to lose life right now, though, right? So what are we doing? Playing this and then nothing? could get Rankle down as a blocker. We could get Rowan down as a blocker. We could play you. I think we play Rankle. Bloodchief's Thirst. One of these. Attack in. Each player discards a card, draws a card, sacrifices a creature. So we will do... Let's get rid of you, because we have ways to get whatever we want and draw cards. Okay, another removal spell. Can we play this as a land? Yes. Perfect. I don't think one damage is going to be relevant in this game, in the sense, you know, their creatures are going to be big. Get in for 2. Okay, this is good because it can gain us life. I'll put that over here. I think we do it like this. Let's play Rowan first so we don't take the extra damage. They could remove it. You know, that was always a possibility, so it's okay. Get it out of their hand. Right now we're out racing them. Lightning Strike is probably not going to matter. And it turns on Unholy Heat. Okay, this gains us some life, so that's okay. Let's get another black source since we have our double red. Especially with Treacherous Blessing. It's good to get some 4 damage to target. Alright. Crashing Drawbridge is good. It can block. It can block this guy. And then, what is this? Non-angel, non-demon, non-devil, non-dragon. Wrecked. Wrecked. Or we could just do this and gain a bunch of life. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. I mean, we might as well gain the 6th life, right? We don't have anything else to do. We could Unholy Heat something, I guess. Is that worth it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We only have 1 mana left over. I mean, that's our only play. Yeah. I think we just... I think we do this for 5. Do it like this. Gain 5. And then we Unholy Heat this guy. I think that ends up working out where we keep the most life with that line, but you can do the math. I didn't want to think about it too hard.
You don't look scared.
Maybe I should have kept this.
Torture makes me feel so wonderful.
Tybalt. Alchemy card. Assuming it does busted stuff. Creature or planeswalker, and we gain life. Seems good. What does this do? With power 2 or less, just barely doesn't hit it. Just barely doesn't hit it. We're getting to the point where we're running them out of resources, though, so that's good. What is this, a devil? Yeah, of course. Of course it's a devil. How much do we need? How much do we need to do? 4? This card is not doing anything right. We can make them sack their creature from your graveyard. Okay. We could do that, but I think getting rid of their planeswalker is more important. What? Dude, fuck you, Arena. Sorry. Let me, like, these timeouts are insane. Like, the amount of time they take away from you is insane. I guess I can do this at instant speed, so I'm excited about that, but let's just submit 0. Yeah. Do it in their upkeep so they don't have a chance to activate.
I guess I cracked first.
Sorry for swearing. I just these timeouts. I feel like they've gotten shorter and shorter over time. Maybe, I don't know. You tell me in the comments. Am I just taking forever with these decisions? Doesn't seem like I'm taking that long with them, but I always end up running out of timeouts. Okay. Skirt Prospector. Let's just kill this while we have the chance. This is usually a combo piece. They could sack it for the red mana, but it's in combat, so unless they have an instant, okay, cool. They had a plan. We're still at a high life total, which is nice. Croxa, that's great. Making them discard the last card. And then we can play Crashing Drawbridge, which blocks their Sin Prodder. Or we could just play Croxa. Ooh, we could just play Croxa. What does this do again? Deals +1. Yeah, so no, we want to do Croxa. Let's get all this stuff out of here. Put another land. Reveal cards. What does this do? Have your opponent put the reveal card in their graveyard. Take action. Yes. Do not want them to have a double bog. Thank you for letting me put that in their graveyard. That would have destroyed us. 1, 2, 7, 8. I mean, they couldn't have cast it, but yeah. It has to be from their hand, right? It has Menace. Okay. That has Menace. We can go down to 1. No, we die because of Treacherous Blessing. So this card no longer can be used. We could Gix's Command to give our Croxa lifelink. Ooh, that's the play. That's the play. It kills that. Each opponent sacrifices a creature. Yep. Yeah. Woo. I gotta be honest though, if I was the opponent, I wouldn't have scooped right then and there. It would have done 8 damage plus 3. So they would have been down to 3 life. But I would at least take the draw because they got some powerful creatures in this deck. I mean, they could have drawn something that could have gotten them out of this. I mean, they have, you know, freaking Ulamog in there, but whatever. So, that was the deck. Oh, let's crack this pack. Cracking packs. I don't know what any of this does. -5, -5. That creature gets -10, -10 until end of turn instead if there are 4 more permanent cards in your graveyard. Ooh. I play Pauper at my local game store, so I think that's a common, right? Yeah, because that's a uncommon. That's interesting. That's interesting as a common. Okay. Anyway, the deck. So, I think I demonstrated how this deck can win games, but I think it also sort of demonstrated how it's difficult to really make Rowan, you know, work in the sense that it's supposed to. I think the sorcery speed activation is really hindering this deck. If this was a tap, you know, you could activate at instant speed, like just tap and activate. I think that would be way more fun because you could activate it on opponent's turns and you know, use instant speed stuff. But you know, the fact that you have to tap it and only as a sorcery, like even if it said like activate only on your turn, so you could do it instant speed on your turn, sort of like how foretell spells work. You can only foretell them on your turn, but you can do it at instant speed. I think even that would be better. But it really hinders like what you can do with the card. So you have to be super careful about when you play it, and then you have to protect it for at least one turn cycle in order to activate it. So I don't know if this is the right way to go about it. There may be cards I'm not thinking of, but if you can think of any cards that should be in this deck to make this, you know, commander, you know, more reliable, let's say, go ahead and drop a comment. The deck itself is powerful. Obviously, we won games with it. You know, Rakdos has all the removal and all the discard and some really powerful back-end spells. So the deck kind of just won a lot of the times without Rowan ever being a factor, which I kind of is cool, but it kind of like defeats the purpose of the deck. So I don't know. You tell me. I think this is a great commander card, and obviously this was designed for commander. They don't design cards for historic Brawl, but I'm definitely thinking about building this in paper. This is a really cool commander, and I think at a commander table this would be a lot more effective, right? Even with the restrictions that we discussed. In historic Brawl, it's difficult. Everyone's going to want to remove your commander no matter what you're playing, but they're especially going to want to remove commanders that reduce casting cost. And as you saw, when we cast Rowan, our opponents took every opportunity to remove it. So, you know, maybe we need more protection in here. Maybe we need more, you know, hexproof type stuff and more, you know, scam effects. I don't know. But this is the deck. If you watched all the way through the video, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. If you haven't already, please subscribe. It means a lot to me. I'm trying to grow the channel, as I said before. You know, like the video, drop a comment, let me know how you would have built this deck. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks again. Bye.